Welcome to the Close Table. I'm your host, Joseph Foley. We're going to go pop over to China for this episode, and we'll discuss a few fundamentals of the international market today. Today we have a longtime friend and former colleague, Michael Zhang. Thank you for joining us today, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Joseph.
Funny story, Michael and I met at NYU grinding out hours of calculus at the Bogues Library. One thing I learned about calculus was that Excel has become my best friend. With that said, Michael, why don't you talk about Chinese real estate market and your firm Walnut, so you can better inform us of your role and what you're doing at Walnut.
Great, thank you. So first of all, a brief introduction about what Walnut is. It's a international community for startups and individual creators, such as freelancers, designers alike. And we are here basically to build a platform utilizing the resources that we have in the local markets to help startups as well as individuals grow in what they want to accomplish. And that's simply our goal. And further to move forward to asking about the Chinese real estate market conditions right now, it's almost like, it reminds me of 2008 or post 2008. But it's just very awkward where the bubble hasn't popped yet because it's been propped up by a ton of cheap capital. But you're already starting to see a lot of developers who really don't know what to do with their empty developments. And but then these lands were taken down years ago and they haven't developed it. So there is an ongoing bubble. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
So how does your firm compare to WeWork?
So our firm compared to WeWork, I guess we play more of a local flavor in the sense that we incorporate the incubator model. And that is partly because the government right now in China is promoting startups and entrepreneurship like never before. They're throwing so much money at it and hoping to see a ton of market players who are able to help them prop up this idea as well as support startups from a capital standpoint. So we've incorporated Incubator, but really by working closely with a couple of public companies. So it's more of not just investing for the sake of financial return, but looking at the public company's strategy and seeing where they're going. So, for example, if it's consumption or it's healthcare or it's big data, and we look to incorporate that kind of unique startups into our space, into our incubator, and then basically move them on into the public companies when they do get big enough.
So comparing that with WeWork, your global presence with WeWork, how are they combative? Is there competition in that? Do you see them coming into that sector, or how are they going to get involved in China?
Yeah. Well, we all know that WeWork just got a fresh juice of capital from led by Lenovo, I believe, for their latest round. And obviously that was for the expansion of the Asian market, in particular China. But I can't say how they're going to be in the rest of the Asian market. Perhaps they'll do really well. But after speaking to a lot of local players in the Chinese market, we all feel like WeWork will be challenged just like Uber has been challenged by Didi. When Uber came into China, they were confident that they were going to take the market. But then Didi kind of took its own turn, supported by Alibaba and Tencent. And now it's a very fair battle, and I believe that Didi is winning in China. So WeWork will probably experience the same kind of shock once they already landed in Shanghai. I'm sure they're going to do well. Their brand is very sexy, but how are they going to stand in terms of the Chinese market? That's a big question mark. But in terms of the global market, we're all seeing how fast, how quickly they're growing, and that's obviously a plus. We're all waiting to see what they take on next. For example, they spin out WeLive, so that's already seeing an extension of the product line to try to cover more hours of a young person's life rather than just focusing on work. So that's very interesting, and I think WeWork is definitely a beast of its own. So.
I completely agree with you. It's making leaps and bounds at the present moment. So you say that you have a good competitive advantage in China. So China's slowing down. What are the kind of opportunities you're seeing in the real estate tech and financial tech sector since you have this incubation model? What are your plans to kind of incorporate and expand that in the future say bringing it to the United States or Europe for that series?
Sure, yeah. Well, look, like I said, for the past decade, Chinese developers have really enjoyed the fruit of development and growth in China, and it's all just been build, and sell. So, but now it's gotten to a point where, first of all, the people who were born in the 90s, I'm one of their, I guess I could be, represented in that category. We are obviously looking for more than just simple concrete and steel. Their property or space itself is becoming requires content. The past 10 years, developers have no concept of how to actually manage a building after it's built or after it's sold. They don't know their tenants. The technology in the spaces are very behind, and that's kind of where we are forward thinking. Ever since we started Walnut, I invested in a tech team, and it's ever been growing. And right now, our tech system incorporates the entire smart lock, smart video, as well as entire online integrated platform for our members to socialize, kind of like WeWork, right? But the idea here is to properly manage our members the way that previous developers have not done, or previous management companies have not done. And that's really where we're seeing a big advantage in our platform, in our firm. And a lot of developers are recognizing our value this year for that. So we've been talking to a ton of big developers in Chengdu who have a lot of leftover spaces which they don't know what to do. So they want to put our brand, our space, our content into their space. But not only that, but to also incorporate our technology into managing their entire development, which is usually about 4 or 5 million square feet.
You say 4 or 5 million square feet?
Yeah, sorry on the conversion. 400,000 square feet.
400,000 square feet. All right, thank you for that correction. So talk to me about some of the firms that. Let's talk about some of the firms that you're incubating at the present moment. What are you kind of looking for? So tell me about your obviously your website. It's in Mandarin, has an English version through Google. The membership qualities, you guys are kind of scattered throughout China. What are the incubation talents that you're looking at? Say if I have a startup company, how does someone engage you and get in contact with you to get part of Walnut, and how to on both the incubation side as well as the membership side? What are your capabilities?
Okay. So first of all, for Walnut, we see ourselves first as a service company, a company that provides service to our members. So in that sense, we're actually kind of passive in our incubation model, in the sense that members join our space because of the services we provide them, because of the convenience and the economic reasons for being in here. From there, we start to take notes, take down information on how they're doing, what their business model is. And like I said, then I go back to the public companies that we have connections to, know their strategy. Obviously, we know every single one of their movements. And by doing that, I'm able to see, okay, this member is now doing big healthcare. Healthcare is a big sector, and in that sense, if I know public companies who are moving in, say, mobile healthcare or biotech, then I start to incorporate members into an incubator model only for the purpose of trying to scale them up. So I wouldn't say we're not incubator, but more of an accelerator, because I know where the public company is, and I try to tie that together with startups that are going their way and potentially could be bought out.
Oh, that's amazing. So let's talk about your funding, and as well as what series you're looking for. When we finish this, when we finish this video, this episode, we'll have your contact information at the bottom for them to contact you. What type of series, what type of funding are you looking for? What type of capital do you have currently? And explain a little more.
Sure. Yeah. Well, again, 2016 for us is very big. For 2015, we spent pretty much an entire year kind of under the water, quietly producing our product, building it out on the tech side, building it out on our service side, our operations, making sure it's smooth, making sure that service kind of logic ties into our technology, such as that, which is why we were actually kind of slow to come out in the capital markets. So not a lot of people actually knows us right now. But this year we're scaling, and we're definitely our goal is to raise our round A round of financing by September and October. So between that 1 month, we're looking to finish our first round of financing. Right now, we're currently in the seed round. The seed round, we financed ourselves with a million yuan, and that's what we're using. We're using our capital to further enhance our technology and for BD, for getting more developers to work with us. That's kind of where the capital is spent. For the money raising, we're looking to raise about 6 to 10 million yuan, and looking to give out anywhere between 10 to 15% for our round A equity rate. And we're going to be using that capital towards much bigger expansion, not only in one city, but across the entire country of China. And we believe, with our partners and our co-founders, our background are NYU and Columbia, so we believe that we have the advantage to go all of Asia and not just China. So our horizon is definitely to take on the entire Asian market and not to only stay put in China.
We know personally we're doing a development RFP, and we have asked you to take some spaces already. So we're excited for your development on that aspect. Why don't we switch gears a little bit and talk about the inflow and the outflow of what you think about the real estate market in general, and your idea of expansion and where China's leading.
Okay. So if we're just talking about capital outflow and inflow, obviously there's a demand for outflow, but it's controlled. So developers in China, they are all looking to pivot. The Chinese word 转型. Everybody's saying 转型 is because developers don't know what to do with their land anymore, or their developments anymore. So a lot of developers are actually getting into incubators. But so they're getting into an industry or a sector that they have no idea what they're doing. So for example, in Chengdu, there's about 300 incubators now. I don't know how many there are in US, but there's in the entire US, but I'm pretty sure it's not even up to that number yet. And that's only in one city in China. In Beijing and Shanghai, there's about, the numbers last time I checked was about 3,000. So it's very scary in the sense that there's a ton of cheap capital being thrown around. A lot of companies are just being propped up, startups, I'm saying. And then I know I'm going off back into our previous subject, but in terms of where the capital is flowing to, because it's controlled within the country, it's trying to find new industries and markets to enter. But in terms of outflow, everybody wants to outflow, but that's very controlled right now.
Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. I don't know how to thank you anymore. I wish you the best of luck with what's going on. It's going to be great stuff for you. I'm excited for you, and keep us posted, and I hope to have you on the show again. Cheers.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Take care.